Welcome to Makers Monday Meetings, where you get to see us start and grow our custom furniture business. In this episode, we go over 5 safety tips every beginning woodworker should know before you start making. Building things with your hands and making something from nothing can be a very satisfying experience. But if you're not following safety procedures or using your head, you could end up like this guy with a nail through his finger. Hey everyone, I am Jason.
And I'm Mike.
And today on Makers Monday Morning Meetings, we're going to talk about what we did last week, a recap. And then we're actually going to talk about 5 safety tips for beginning woodworkers. I'm a beginning woodworker myself. Mike's been teaching me the ropes of woodworking and building. And one of the first things that he taught me was actually safety tips. Things that you should know before you start woodworking so you can be safe yourself. You don't cut off any of your fingers and you stay healthy. First, a little recap of what we've been doing in the shop this week.
This week we were focused more on some projects for my wedding, so we got a lot of those done, and we'll show you guys those after the wedding takes place. And other than that, we had one little surprise customer deal that was kind of fun that I'd like to talk about. On the barn door that we had previously mentioned, the customer found this old piece of aluminum with his deceased father's stamp still on there, and they told me it was used to skin raccoons apparently. So but it looks really neat, and they want to incorporate it into the door, so we're gonna mount it up on the door because they weren't quite ready to take the door home yet, so it worked out we still had it. And then they also wanted us to make another one to match, so we mocked this up, and we still gotta kind of dirty it up, make it look a little rustic.
You're gonna have to skin some raccoons to make
get a little seasoning on there, huh? But I thought that'll be a really nice touch to the door, and I think it's a good idea maybe for future ones too. I think it'll look really good. It
looks almost like a hinge type of thing. It'll go right on there, almost. It's made for it. So
it's perfect.
Yeah.
Moving on from that, Jason got the website up and running.
Website's
looks awesome.
We published it. It's not quite done yet. Most of it we still got to fill in some pictures and stuff like that. But you can go on there. We actually just released our Barnwood mirror video, so you can actually go on there and purchase one if you want to.
Yeah.
Is definitely something. It's something. I'll tell you that much.
Got another project video coming out this week as well, following this video.
Yeah, it's a personalized barnwood sign, 5 foot by 12 or 13 inches. And what's cool about this is it actually has LED lights on the inside. Comes with a remote control. You can kind of put it to whatever color you want. It does a couple different options to it. But you can put anything you want on the sign. You want to write your last name, the bar, anything you can think of. We can make that say whatever you want.
Yeah. So for the wedding, we did a few projects. We did a really neat gift box with box joints on the side. That came out really neat. And then a couple of signs for a welcome, and then a thank you. And for the people that have passed away that we really wish could have been there, we have a little memorial board for them as well.
Awesome.
And then there's a couple gifts for the parents that we're going to do that should be fairly sentimental to them, hopefully.
Yeah.
And we'll show all that later.
All right, let's get right into shop safety. Number 1 is wear ear protection and eye protection. Kind of obvious type of things. You do want to wear safety glasses. You want to wear ear protection. There's rotating blades here, and you're cutting stuff, and little pieces of the wood can actually come up and shoot and hit you in the face and everything. So you want to protect your eyes. You want to protect your ears. Some of the machines, they're not that loud, but the continuous drone of some of these machines can have an adverse long-term effect if you're not protecting yourself and wearing some of these safety products.
The most basic thing you can do to protect yourself is your personal protective equipment. You got your dust mask, you got your safety glasses, and earplugs. Those are just all no-brainers that you should wear 90% of the time.
Yeah, and it's tough too, because if you're cutting something and you're ready to cut, you're gonna put all this stuff on. You're gonna put your breathing mask on. You're gonna put your safety glasses on. You're gonna put your earplugs in. But when you're done, you take everything off and you realize that, oh, I got one more quick cut. It's hard to put everything back on just to make one quick cut, but that's when you're going to injure yourself. When you go back and you're just trying to do something real quick and you don't have your safety equipment on because you're impatient and you didn't want to throw it on just for one quick cut, that's when you're going to get injured. Every time you use this stuff, every time you use the machines, you should be cautious and use this stuff and put it on and take the time to do it.
Number 2 is be aware of where your hands are and any moving parts. We have a couple things around here where we took the guards off, which probably isn't the best idea, but we try to be very aware of the moving parts and your injury points.
Yeah, definitely. As a beginning woodworker, you want to know where your hands are and where you're supposed to place them. When we were using the table saw, where do I put my hands? And do I put them on this side or that side? And it's nice because you have these little push sticks that you taught me about, which I wouldn't even know. That's nice.
Right.
To keep your fingers away from the blade. It's kind of obvious, but as a beginning woodworker, how do you do that? It makes sense as you see it, but keep your hands out of the way.
Yeah, and it's also good to think about where you're going to end up at the end of a cut, and that what's going to help you position yourself to be safe all the way through the cut.
Number 3, watch out for metal, screws, nails, anything in the wood that could compromise the cut. Not only can this damage the blade, you actually had an instance this morning where there was a staple in a piece of wood and it went through the planer and it damaged the blade.
Yeah, so we got a little nick in the blade, which I haven't totally looked at it yet, but we may be able to get it sharpened and it's all good. But sometimes you got to replace the blades when that thing's happen.
It could actually create a kickback if it's a big enough nail or whatever it is.
Well, and working with reclaimed lumber a lot too, we try to get all the nails out. But you miss them. They're embedded in there, and you can get one thrown back at you. So that's why the eyeglasses are very important. Number 4 is kickbacks, which can actually happen on a variety of machines, but it's most well known on the table saw. And these are caused when you're running a piece through the table saw, and it gets a little off kilter from the fence. The blade is spinning back at you, so it can actually grab the piece of wood, pull it towards you, and throw it back. And if your hand's on top, it can come into the blade, and that's where a lot of serious injuries happen. We found this crazy guy on YouTube. He actually caused a kickback. On purpose, yeah. And he filmed it, which it's awesome for everybody to see and kind of make you aware and respect the tool. But it was not a very intelligent thing to do. But you can look that up on his channel, which is Thintz12.
We'll post a link on the bottom of the description, too. You guys can see that.
Yeah, but he came very close to taking a finger off. But, yeah, they can also happen on the miter saw. If you're not up against the fence flat, it can pull you into the blade as well.
I actually did that when we first started. I wanted to cut an angle, and I didn't realize that the miter saw turns so you can cut angles, and I was just going to cut an angle, and it made a very loud noise, and it scared me. And
yeah, well,
and I learned. I know I didn't want to learn that way, but that's why we're doing this video. Things that a beginner should know.
A good way to avoid kickbacks on a table saw is always keep your board flat up against the fence and follow straight through. Whether you're using your hand or your push sticks, either styles works great, but just make sure you go all the way through. Don't fire it through so fast that you bog it down, but don't sit there either and allow it to slowly pull the board back.
If it wasn't for editing, if these were live,
it'd be awful.
I don't do live videos. All right, one of the most important safety tips is number 5, and it's sawdust and breathing. One of these. What am I saying? I don't know what I'm saying. All right, number 5 is sawdust and breathing, and this is one thing that I didn't know about. I mean, you wear the respirators and the masks and everything, and I didn't know how bad sawdust was really for you. I mean, it's a carcinogen. Some of the materials, some of the woods will actually be toxic. Mm-hmm. I was reading some things about, too. I mean, some of the wood, especially the barn wood, could have bugs and whatever else is in it, and that can be in the air and floating around.
Right.
and get into your lungs. One of the biggest things is long-term damage with sawdust. I mean, breathing it in every day for years and years is going to decrease your lung capacity,
Right.
and you're going to be more susceptible to respiratory infections and stuff like that if you're continually breathing in dust every day, 8 hours a day. So breathing masks are very important. We got a few things. What do we have in the shop to prevent, all the dust?
Well, we're set up fairly well. We have the air filter. We should maybe get another one. I think that's for 500 square feet. This room, I think, is 800. But we have a couple other things going on, too. This room actually used to be the cafeteria of this really large warehouse that we're in. And there's a couple vents right there that were exhaust fans. So we actually use that to pull a lot of fine dust out of the air, and they seem to work pretty well. And we've also set up a downdraft table over here, which we can give you guys a little inside look on. And then we have the dust collection as well. And we converted a regular Grizzly dust collector into a 2-stage, and that really seems to have increased the airflow and the overall capacity of the machine.
So as a beginning woodworker, there's lots of safety things that you can go over. These are just 5 of the ones that we kind of pulled out, the most important things that we've started with. There's many other safety tips in the actual woodworking industry that you can go out, educate yourself before you start working. You want to make sure that you keep all your fingers and stay healthy. That's the most important thing when going to work. I mean, you only got one set of eyes,
Right.
and you only get one set of lungs. So.
Yeah, this is by no means the end-all be-all on safety, and we're not the safest guys in the world, but we try and we're mindful. And one thing that I found that will be true for everybody is if you don't feel comfortable doing something, it's probably wrong, so
Definitely.
don't do it.
Yeah.
Find a better way or a safer way to do it. Take a minute and think about it.
Yep, definitely. Good advice. Beginning where yeah. I get going so good, and then Again, thank you guys for watching, and thank you for subscribing to. If you have any safety tips or that you want to share, please leave them in the comments below. People read the comments. If you got anything you want to share, there's other people that want to hear it. We appreciate it. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.
See ya. I'm going to be late for the wedding, so I better go now.